Rimiru's strongest general is so powerful, he could have killed our favorite slime any time for like 60% of the story, as he is the 20 billion year old primordial demon Noir. However, when he was born, he wasn't like the rest of his primal sibling. While the other first beings of creation fought constantly, Diablo, after just one tie against the primordial red, he got bored. In fact, he had a profound discovery that if he keeps getting stronger, he will only get even more tired of living. So Noir didn't feel the need to evolve himself or even say yes to an ultimate skill. That is until 2 years ago, when he found out about a slime who was doing some surprising things in the forest of Jura, like absorbing Ifrit. But he couldn't just approach his eventual master because that's kind of sus, alright? What if Rimuru thinks Diablo is a stalker and tells him to go away? So he waited patiently to be summoned. However, this wait felt like an eternity until, of course, Diablo came across a device which allowed him to play as Rimuru himself. And you guys can do this too with AFK Arena. Yup, Rimuru along with Shuna takes a side quest to Esperia, where they join forces with the heroes in the AFK Arena world. Rimuru takes the role of an intellectual mage, mainly responsible for burst output, whereas Shuna sticks to support. And you guys can play as both of them, as they will be free to try with their own in-game abilities. The new themed Voyage of Wonder called Stone-Freed Waterflows will depict their new adventure story on this continent. But similar to Tensura, in AFK Arena, there are more than 100 heroes covering 8 different factions, all for you to summon and venture with, growing together, becoming stronger. And by the way, AFK Arena employs their own great sage, known as the resonance system, so you can level up your heroes without wasting any time and resources. It's easy and super fun to play. Oh, come on. We all want to be Rimiru, right? But now you can by downloading AFK Arena right now. Using our link in the description and pinned comment, you can earn yourself 180 free summons and be guaranteed an SP hero by completing designated active tasks. So what are you waiting for? At the dawn of time, Vildanava, the creator of the Tensura world, separated 7 primal angels from the Holy Spirit of Light. However, in this multiverse, you need balance. So to become the counterpart to the light of the angels, the 7 primordial demons were born as their shadows through the Holy Spirit of Darkness. Diablo, or Noir the Black, is one of these primal demons who all resided in the demon world or hell. In Tensura, there are many different worlds or dimensions. However, among them, there is a spectrum where a universe like Earth's is a completely physical one, which consists of no magic use. Then you have realms like the Cardinal world, where Rimiru reincarnates into, which is semi-spiritual, meaning both spiritual beings and physical beings exist alongside each other. However, the demons that inhabit hell are spiritual and must be summoned to the Cardinal world or jump through a hell gate to gain access. And even when they come across, it's difficult for them to showcase their full power. So for eons, Diablo didn't even think to venture out of the demon realm. Instead, he was beefing with the primordial red guy Crimson. The two wanted to prove which one of them was the strongest demon, but they kept drawing. Yet their battles were so fierce that it prompted the world language to provide them both with an evolution. This is where their paths start to diverge. Guy chose to manifest in the physical world, gaining immense power and becoming one of the most feared demon lords. Conversely, Diablo refused to evolve, preferring to retain his original form and enjoy his freedom. Bro didn't even accept an ultimate skill. Diablo's refusal to evolve made no sense to the other primals. For example, Rain the Blue could not fathom why someone with Noir's potential would reject greater power, especially since gaining domination over the others seems to be in a demon's nature. You could say Noir was the black sheep of the primals. However, the uniqueness of Diablo doesn't end there, as even his mindset is built different from his siblings. Guy is ambitious and seeks to enhance his power and influence continually. He evolved and became the arbiter arbitrator or the first recognized demon lord, finding a place for himself in the multiverse. In contrast, Diablo values freedom over power. He has the capability to get stronger, but he finds satisfaction in his current state and enjoys living without the burdens that come with more power. Because, you know, with more power comes more responsibility. Furthermore, Diablo thinks that evolving further would make future battles boring and one-sided, as there are few beings in the world who could challenge him at their current level. This perspective highlights his desire for meaningful and challenging combat, instead of merely accumulating strength for its own sake. The life purpose of a demon is supposed to be just constant battles to prove themselves. Basically, hell is just a battle royale, where after a demon dies, they revive once again, but upon death, their power and influence decreases. So the older a demon is, the stronger they are. But if you never even lose once in your entire existence, especially as a primordial, you will keep getting stronger, not with your magic queues increasing, but with simply your battle experience. Diablo doesn't even care about his own family, as every time a demon is created, they end up being positioned at one of the 7 colors lineage. Almost all the other colors have generals and duke archdemons, yet Diablo flies solo. However, Noir could never just be satisfied in hell, so he would venture into the cardinal world when he pleased. This is very different from other demons who need to be summoned, and even then they have to find themselves a physical body. But Diablo, with his affinity for understanding the inner workings of the universe and magic, bypasses this rule. Doing things like this is actually what brings Black the most joy. And as fate would have it, about 70 to 60 years ago, Diablo chose to come to the cardinal world, where he met a girl who changed his life forever, Shizue Izawa. More specifically, her anti-magic mask. This mask not only stopped Diablo from finishing her off, but even repelled his attacks. At this point, there weren't many people in existence who could deflect him. In fact, just look at how easily he defeats these archdemons who are said to be strong enough to topple entire nations single-handedly. But Shizu, a mere human girl, is deflecting the primordial Noir's attacks. What is this wizardry? This excited Diablo to no end, busting nuts everywhere. The nature of Shizu's mask is actually something Diablo doesn't figure out until like volume 19, and is his biggest weakness in the story, but I'll get into that later. If Diablo figured out what this mask was, he would have never lost to Michael in the future, the only real combat L bro ever took in his life. So what is this mask? Well, it all has to do with Cronoa and Time Loop Chloe.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
So first, Shizu gives this mask to Rimuru, which can block and suppress magic. Rimuru gives it to Chloe as a gift. Then in Hero's Awakening arc, Chloe, alongside Hinata's soul, time travel 2,000 years into the past with the mask. Then 1,700 years later, the mask is in the hands of Cronoa, whose mind consists of Hinata and the body is adult Chloe. Then Cronoa meets up with Shizu about 70 to 80 years ago and gives her the mask as a memento, completing the cycle. So now the question is, who the hell created this mask if everyone is just giving the mask back and forth, you know? It's kind of like a paradoxical object, because in the current timeline, we know that Rimiru creates an exact copy of this mask, and it is insinuated that Rimuru is the one who made it originally, but due to all of the time loop that event was lost. Yet the mask existed as an anchor point which time loop Chloe and later Rimuru hold on to stop the time looping. Okay, this is a very simple explanation of it. If you guys really want me to make a video on Hero's Awakening and this time loop thing, get this video to 15,000 likes and we'll see. Also, buy gamer subs with code ABD 10% off. Please buy some gamer subs. That shit's so fire. Due to the mask's paradoxical nature, it became Noir's fixation, as it achieved the world rule breaking which he seeked all throughout his life. So naturally, he stalked the out of Shizu, which eventually about 2 years ago led him to Rimuru Tempest. At first, Diablo was only interested in Rimuru due to his possession of the mask, but quickly he realized that Rimuru was far more unique than anything he had ever witnessed in his eons of existence. For example, bro was so jealous in the light novel that Beretta, in his eyes, a lowly demon from his own family, had gotten summoned by Rimuru, so he went to go kill her. But after learning her body was made by by Rimuru himself, Noir was immediately convinced to spare Beretta. If Rimuru created a rock and made him hold on to it, I guarantee you, Diablo would never wash his hand ever again. But what is so fascinating about a 40-year-old virgin slime god? Well, like I said earlier, Diablo is interested in beings who break the foundations of the world, and Rimuru easily fits into that category. Firstly, Rimiru's way of running his nation of monsters is different from everywhere else in Tensura, as Tempest isn't run with the idea of exclusion, but rather inclusion. You can be anyone or anything, yet still become a citizen of Tempest with zero prejudice. Even among demons, there are 7 different factions. Furthermore, just like Diablo, Rimuru doesn't do things that would gain him strength. Rather, he does and creates things that will bring him fulfillment and entertainment. For example, Rimuru rather spends his time and energy figuring out how to make ramen possible or creating white rice than to go train and become stronger. Logically, become stronger in Tensura should help Tempest be safer, but Rimuru has created the strongest nation in the entire world without seeking military power directly or even individual strength. This is similar to how Noir rolls. Even though he doesn't actively seek strength, he is the strongest demon in hell when Guy isn't there. Then there is Rimiru's soul itself. In Tensura, your capabilities as a fighter is largely dependent on the strength of your soul. For example, the stronger you make your soul, more skills you can gain and can even evolve. This happens after going through an ordeal or overcoming it. But Rimiru's nonchalant dreadhead-like nature since becoming a lowly slime proves he has a gifted soul. This then gets further buffed through being named by a true dragon Veldora, and Rimuru is one of the only characters who has a soul strong enough to store a dragon factor, but I'll get into that in the events of volume 15. I'll explain that later. However, I myself have a theory that Rimuru is the incarnation of Veldanava, or is similar to Masayuki, who was born on Earth with the fragments of the first hero Rudra's soul. Rimuru too possesses Veldanava's soul fragment. That's why he can make the impossible possible, and Diablo is so infatuated by him. And you guys know the deal, 15,000 likes, I'll make that Veldanava theory too. Diablo's thoughts on Rimuru gets bolstered even more when he is summoned for the first time, just as our slime is entering his harvest festival. As Rimuru is asleep, Diablo is tasked to deal with Razul, a 1,000-year-old mage of Falmuth. This guy might have seemed like a bozo because he fights Diablo, but he was considered a nuclear-level threat to the world. He was literally the only reason other people were scared of invading Falmuth, and Diablo makes it child's play to defeat this experienced wizard known to be at the upper echelons of humanity's strength. But the real shock to Diablo came right after, as he witnessed Raphael for the very first time. Now, most people watching Raphael revive all the fallen would just think it was Rimiru's angered and stoic form, but not Diablo, because he is one of the most knowledgeable people in existence when it comes to skills and the mechanics of magic. The secret of Raphael is only known by a select few in Tensura, even in the current light novels, as everyone just believes Rimuru has one ultimate skill, Gluttony King Beelzebub, at this point. Yet Diablo, with his experience, can guess he also possesses Wisdom King. This fact broke another rule of the world, as one person with one soul is only supposed to have one ultimate skill. Furthermore, Rimuru didn't become a demon lord for himself or even for his nation. He chose to go through the procedure because that was the only way his friends like Shion could be revived, which again goes against the nature of monsters. It was a selfless act. Rimuru put his entire personality at risk by becoming a demon lord, because what if he came out as this evil stoic person? The demon lord seed took over his mind, you know? What if that happened? After this battle, Noir comes to Rimuru once again, expecting to be praised and enlisted into the Tempest forces. But Rimuru just says, nah bro, I don't need you. You can leave if you want. Thanks for the help though. But luckily, Noir didn't give up, so he begged on his knees to let him serve Rimuru. So then, Rimuru gave Noir a name, who finally accepted his evolution into a demon peer. Not for himself, but because if Diablo becomes stronger, then he's helping his master Rimuru's army. However, the biggest boost to Noir was that he found a purpose where he can put his overwhelming powers to use. Diablo quickly rises to lieutenant level within Tempest army. However, Rimuru at this point only saw Diablo as a mere archdemon. In fact, his sheer presence is so strong it literally scares away potential threats. And I don't know how Mr. Slime didn't realize he had a Primordial under his ranks for like 5 freaking volumes after recruiting Diablo. An example of this is when Diablo utterly destroys the kingdom of Falmuth both hierarchically and economically. After their failed invasion, Tempest demanded money as repentance, drastically decreasing their economic standing. All that was left was to place Yom, a hero and ally of Tempest, on the throne, basically turning Falmuth into like a vassal state of Tempest. Something important to note is that the church had involved Tempest in a scandal that blamed Diablo for the murder of their archbishop. They basically used Diablo to accuse Rimuru of a crime he didn't commit to destroy the monster nation. Diablo then came up with a plan to not only prove his innocence but secure Yom's ascension, basically striking 2 birds with 1 stone. He gathered journalists from throughout the world all in one place at a battlefield where he could not only disprove the claims of his enemies but also protect them and serve as a somewhat hero figure when the Western Church arrived to destroy the evidence, which is exactly what happened. After the utter defeat of the church and King Edward, the journalists spread the news about Diablo and the truth behind the Falmuth invasion, gaining the country's support for Yom just as Diablo had wished for. This entire plan was pure entertainment to not only us but especially Diablo, because usually a demon at the caliber of Diablo who has manifested physically could have just used pure brute strength to win over a kingdom like Falmuth. However, Rimuru, by telling him to not harm the innocents and cause the least casualties, made this task more difficult and in turn fun for Diablo. So even though Diablo is under the dominion of Rimuru, they kind of have a symbiotic relationship where Mr. Slime makes things fun for our demon, while Diablo, using his 5-head and experience, makes life and management easier for Rimuru. Soon after the conquest of Falmuth, we witness one of, if not Diablo's biggest contribution to Tempest, which is his ability to recruit other powerful demons to serve the nation. In fact, Diablo has recruited 3 other Primordials, white, purple, and yellow, to serve under Rimuru alongside 1,000 of the strongest demons from each of their families. This squad is known as the Black Numbers, where Diablo is the leader. Of the Black Numbers, Testarossa, Carrera, and Ultima are directly under the command of Diablo, but I'll explain just how highly Diablo is ranked in Tempest in just a bit, because now we have to talk about Diablo's first true fight as part of Rimiru's army. So in Volume 11, Rimuru and his orchestra are over in Lubilius to do a concert, but this crusty dude named Granville Razul, who is actually the real mastermind behind all of the misfortune befalling Tempest for like 5 volumes, he takes up this opportunity to start a final war. However, Diablo is there to help, as he faces off against an insector named Razul, who was formerly part of the 12 insect generals in the other world. This guy was battling phantoms and angels until about 1,000 years ago when he came to the cardinal world and gained his name. All in all, he is busted. Even Diablo would find it hard to break his exoskeleton, especially since insectors are a demon's biggest counter. However, Diablo recognizes that Rimuru might have left Razul to Shion and Ranga as a test of their strength and growth. This moment of introspection showcases Diablo's deep understanding of Rimiru's intentions and his respect for his master's strategic plan. So he left the defeat of the Insector to the hands of Shion and Ranga, instead choosing to confront the primordial blue Rain. Now, why does Rain, who serves Guy, wants to fight Diablo? Well, she's kind of jealous that Noir has so much freedom and the luxury to be selfish. So Rain gives Diablo a little chop on the neck that's faster than the speed of sound, but to Diablo, that's just light work to dodge. Then bro drops the coldest line in all of Slime. This might be the most aura I've seen someone gain in one set. Honestly, every fight Diablo is involved in, he gains insane amounts of aura. He says, "I simply have no need to tap my full force for the likes of you." This is a primordial demon blue, and bro said likes of you. Like it's some fodder.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Diablo, of course, backs it up instantly as he disperses one of Rain's strongest nuclear magic blasts with little to no effort. They both clash their magic against each other and disperse every spell. However, a key difference is that Rain is using almost all of her mental capacity to just throwing these attacks around trying to outmaneuver Diablo. Yet, Noir this whole time was instead focused on creating a disintegration magic circle while using the exchange of spells as a distraction. This completely catches Blue off guard, as by the time she realizes what was happening, the multi-layered magic circle under her had already paralyzed her. Then, Diablo tells her to stop clowning on his master Rimuru, as this power of disintegration was granted to Diablo through his faith on the slime, as it gave him access to spiritual particles. So in a sense, this defeat for Rain wasn't just Diablo's doing, but Rimiru's also. Now, as strong as Diablo is, there is one person in Rimiru's army who could go toe-to-toe with him, Jijin the Insector, who was also part of the 12 insect generals. He is the second strongest in Rimiru's army right after Diablo, but they are very close to each other in strength, where even Diablo lost to Jijin during training in the dungeon. And honestly, in the latest volume, volume 21, you could put up a case that Jijin is stronger than Diablo, but we'll get to that later. This parity in strength was actually a blessing to both, as they could go to maximum power and buff each other every fight. And since they're fighting in the dungeon, they could fight to death and just be resurrected by Ramirez. The results of their training are shown to us in volume 13, and even later on, they keep battling. So this guy, Jijin, is Diablo's true training partner. But in volume 13, Diablo is once again given permission to battle. Here, bro steps up to the camp of the armored division from the Eastern Empire who have invaded Tempest. This division is considered to be the strongest of the Eastern Empire's military, yet to Diablo, it's light work to massacre 1,000 soldiers of theirs. He easily dispatches two of the strongest fighters from the East, Jiwoo and Bernie, by just his aura alone. This dude's haki kills 2 single-digit numbers. He's insane. These guys are ranked number 9 and 7th in the army respectively. They are Demon Lord Seed level or even stronger. But the biggest disrespect comes to this guy named Krishna, who had huge expectations put on him to evolve during this battle. Yet, with a snap of his finger, Diablo kills him, a number 17 ranked officer in the Imperial Knights. And a snap of a finger, boom, he's dead. However, the main opponent of Diablo is the commander Caligulio, who has been given god-class armor and weapon by the Eastern Emperor Rudora. And after witnessing the complete dismantle and disrespect to the Eastern Empire's army and the desperation he is in, Caligulio evolves into an enlightened being, putting him at the similar class to like season 3 Hinata. Hinata could probably still beat enlightened Caligulio because of her hack skills, but I would put both of them near equal footing. But even still, Diablo barely lifts a finger, as Caligulio's attacks aren't even worth mentioning in the novel. Then Diablo gets an even bigger upgrade to his power in volume 14, turning into a true awakened demon lord and evolving from a demon peer to a devil lord. This evolution is so busted that Rimuru even fears Diablo might be stronger than him now and could betray him. This level up to Devil Lord gives Diablo similar magical counts to even Rimiru, and couple that with all the different skills Diablo had gained in his eons of existence, this was a frightening sight to even our slime. Then there is this comment by Diablo. Bro says that he wanted to use this evolution to snatch up an ultimate skill finally, and the only reason he never got one is because Guy had one. It would be kind of lame to copy him. Like, you don't want people thinking, oh, Guy got an ultimate skill, so Diablo he got an ultimate skill too. What a lame ass, am I right? What the ultimate skills are supposed to be like the pinnacle of strength. Like, if you don't have an ultimate skill and your opponent has an ultimate skill, like, logic would dictate that you should lose, okay? But this guy, he's like, nah, I don't need that shit. I can be ultimate skill users without an ultimate skill.
See, now that's some bullshit.
Anyway, but now since Diablo is in service of Rimuru, he wants to become as strong as possible, so he takes up the world language on its offer to upgrade his Tempter unique skill to Azazel, Lord of Temptation. It is one of the 14 demonic skills where its function is control and domination. It grants its user the ability to manipulate and command others with an absolute authority that is difficult to resist. This aspect of the skill is particularly useful in battles and political maneuvering, as it allows the wielder to turn enemies into allies and subjugate opponents without physical confrontation. The control exerted by Azazel is not merely psychological like the unique skill Tempter, but extends to the spiritual level. Then there is the aspect of Azazel to upgrade lower level skills, which is insanely busted in the hands of a magic scientist like Diablo. Using Azazel and his years of experience, Diablo has upgraded almost all of his skills. Other than Rimuru, Diablo might be the character with the most skills and abilities at this point. Some of the strongest abilities include All of Creation, which lets him comprehend any universal mechanic with just a basic understanding, Demon Lord's Haki, which is what he used to subjugate the Eastern Empire's army, kind of like Conqueror's Haki, Universal Perception, which is just observation Haki, allowing the user to perceive everything in his surrounding, Multidimensional Barrier, and Space-Time Domination, giving Diablo access to travel between different worlds, and even buffing his teleportation. Law Manipulation, letting our boy transcend the laws of physics and nature during fights. Then there is a Temptation World and Reality Exchange, which creates a tempting dimension to entrap the victim and decimate them. After Diablo's evolution, his faith in Rimuru also allows him to use holy magic, spirit magic like necromancy, similar to Birthday, which was used to revive millions of angels in the current Tenma War. Basically, Diablo is him now. However, we are still only in Volume 14, as during Volume 15, we get to witness how highly other generals in Rimiru's army hold Diablo to. While Veldora gets captured by the Eastern Empire and a full-scale assault is happening on Tempest, the army is mobilized. Now, the commander-in-chief of Tempest is Benimaru, where everyone else needs to listen to his orders. Not Diablo though, because even though if Benimaru did command Diablo to do something, he would absolutely do it. There is a sense of respect towards the demon though, as Benimaru says that Diablo's level is so high, he only takes orders directly from Rimuru, and he trusts in Diablo enough to let him roam free. This respect is mutual, as Diablo hands control of the Black Numbers and all of the demon army to Benimaru. And why is Diablo flying solo, you might ask? Well, he has the most important mission in all of the war. Honestly, this might be the most difficult mission in all of anime, manga, probably media, because Diablo has to spectate Rimiru's fight against Velgrin and Veldora.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
Bro is watching TV instead of participating in the war. Okay, Diablo does have the responsibility to watch everybody's flank and make sure people don't get sucked into an alternate dimension, and he also is keeping an eye out for Yuki the rat. And Diablo justifies him not being heavily involved in battle by saying that the only one in the battlefield he would have trouble with is Felgrin color. So Diablo wants to give everyone else a chance to showcase their new powers and level up, but Diablo still gets scolded by Rimuru to get his ass to work as he comes face to face with Feldway, quickly realizing that this is the Primordial Angel. Now, Ciel surmises that Diablo could have lost to Feldway if they engaged in battle. However, even though Feldway could defeat Noir at this point, it would have been an insane hassle, so Diablo's mere presence makes Feldway back off. This confrontation then gets its continuation in Volume 18, when Michael and Feldway, alongside the army of angels and Velzard, attack El Dorado, Leon Cronwell's territory during the Great Tenma War. It's an all-out world war where our boy Diablo fights Zalario. Wait, not Feldway. Oh yeah, his bitch ass left again because he didn't want to handle Diablo's smoke. However, Zalario is no slouch either, as he has an EP of 20 million, asserting his position Primordial Angel. Meanwhile, Diablo's EP is only about 6.666 million. But okay, EP values to someone like Diablo, they don't mean okay? We'll see just why in a sec. This is also not Diablo and Zalario's first battle, since in the other world they were beefing from time to time. Yet this would be the definitive battle with one victor coming out on top. Zalario begins the confrontation with a technique called 8-Way Dark Authority, which involves gathering his aura and releasing it in 8 powerful projectiles aimed at Diablo. Despite the formidable nature of this attack, Diablo effortlessly dodges the blasts and dismisses Zalario as an amateur. One of the key abilities Diablo employs during this fight is his strategic use of minimal effort to conserve energy while maximizing the psychological impact on his opponent. Diablo taunts Zalario, causing him wasting energy and lacking proper training. This is not just bravado, as Diablo's comments are intended to undermine Zalario's confidence and provoke reckless actions. Because remember, Diablo's EP, which generally measures one's magic use, are 3 times less than Zalario. But due to how efficiently Diablo fires his attacks and his dodging, it doesn't even matter. Diablo's skills are not limited to evasion and psychological tactics, though. He demonstrates his mastery over spatial manipulation, a critical aspect of his defensive and offensive strategy. For instance, he uses a distortion in space to nullify Zalario's attacks, a technique reminiscent of the spatial defensive zones used by Shizu, who is Diablo's training partner. And this also highlights how every fight Diablo goes through, he has the ability and the know-how to copy his opponent's best skills and tactics. This skill to manipulate space provides Diablo with an almost impenetrable defense against elemental and physical attacks. Moreover, Diablo's calm and collected demeanor throughout the battle contrasts sharply with Zalario's increasing frustration and desperation. This mental fortitude is a significant factor in Diablo's combat style, where he doesn't just want to dominate physically, but it brings him joy to destroy his opponent psychologically too. Anyways, Diablo achieves victory without even using 100% of his full power. Like, this is a primordial angel with a physical body, but Diablo is barely even into the battle. However, in volume 19 is when Diablo loses for the very first time ever against Michael. Michael is an ultimate skill that evolved into a sentient mana similar to CL, but he has taken control of his host, Emperor Rudra, and Diablo is fighting him to protect his Pookie, Rimuru, and the boys. However, even though Diablo uses Azazel, his space-time manipulation, dimension control, all of them are outranked by Michael and his absolute dominion. The space control Michael wields supersedes anything Diablo possesses, and as I mentioned earlier, spatial domination is one of Diablo's main fortes. Especially Michael's authority over time stop, where he can literally enter a dimension where time doesn't flow as a virtual being and defeat his opponents. Diablo just can't match that. However, he doesn't get affected by this loss in a negative way. Instead, it only further validates Diablo's faith towards his master, as Rimiru was able to defeat Michael, an enemy Diablo couldn't surmount. Furthermore, with just a glance at how Rimuru used time stop in volume 20, Diablo hints that he has figured out the secrets of time stop, and in his next battle, he will be able to utilize it. Finally, we come to the events of volume 21, where Diablo once again gets into a fight with the strongest opponent he has ever faced, Zalanus, the insect lord, whose EP is 114 million. We also finally get to see Diablo's god class weapons, the scissors, or those claw bro wields, and they like start emitting like rainbow aura and stuff. It's fucking magical. Okay, can't wait for that to get animated. He goes toe to toe with the insect lord, who is said to be on par, if not stronger than even true dragons, and was super close to even defeating Milim. If this fight went to its conclusion, I have no doubt Diablo would come out victorious, but that doesn't happen, as Shizu wakes up after hearing disrespect to his lord Rimiru and absolutely destroys his former master Zalanus, once again having us be edged to see Diablo's true powers. So why can't we just see Diablo in action? Hopefully in volume 22 we'll finally get to see Diablo in action, as he'll probably face Feldway. Like, Diablo versus Feldway has been set up since like volume 15, so hopefully we get to finally witness that. But if you guys want to witness the abilities and powers of the 10 demon lords, then watch the video on screen right now.